And I thought about making this video a while back, but I just got caught up in a lot of stuff. But I wanna pay tribute to two TFL brothers that were suffering a lot, man. That was going through a lot of depression, going through a lot of pain, going through a lot of heartaches. Um, One thing I would never do is turn my back on my TFL brothers. I don't switch up. I don't change. I'm not two-faced, Even if I may be in a relationship, I may be married, I may have kids. It doesn't matter what status of my life will be. I'll always pay ownership to my TFL brothers, man, because there's a lot of men that are suffering just like them, and these men were suffering in silence, man. And I wanna get their name, Baraka McKray. I wanna pay my respect to Baraka McKray and Renegade1. Renegade1 is another black pillar that was going through a lot. I was suffering a lot in his life, personal life, and he had a lot of mental problems. And well, I won't say he was nothing wrong. It's just that he was so smart. That man seen way beyond his years. It was like Renegade1 was one of the most intelligent human being I've ever, like, in terms of his philosophy in life, how he views society, and how he analyzed how people are. I'll say Renegade1 is one of the most smartest YouTuber I've ever watched ever, man. That man just was so deep in his thoughts, and I related to a lot what he had to say. But it was like, if you consume his content really, if you do really consume it, that can really take a toll, because like he embraced the darkness. I mean, I think he made a video talking about embracing the darkness, basically accepting that dark side of your life, whatever issues you're dealing with, just embrace it. And I felt like he was definitely going through a lot in his personal life, but he never ran from it. He completely embraced it, and that completely accepted that his reality was what it is, because he said, once you woke up to the truth and you are no longer a part of the matrix, you can never go back. I think that the thing with Renegade1 was that he was just too self-aware, man, for him to get back into society. Like, he was too self-aware of himself and the true purpose, like a bigger purpose he served. But it was like he felt like there's no way for anything, like there's no way he could come back into society and be accepted, because he already transcended from that, like, environment. Like, he was no longer the same person. And I think what really pushed him over, because I feel like it's not only the fact that he just felt like he never was a part of society, but I also believe that the bullying that he got from, I think he posted a video and it went viral on TikTok. Then he had a bunch of hating ass hoes and ninjas that was coming into his comment section, calling all type of words and names and stuff like that. I think that really had an impact on his mental health. Like, well, you're getting all these negative comments, people saying very nasty things about you, people trying to sabotage you, and trying to put you down. I feel that had an impact in how he viewed himself, because he was already struggling with his own personal demons, and they just added on top of that whatever he was going through. With people coming in this comment section saying that you're lame, you're square, and all that stuff. The thing is that Renegade1 was someone that always spoke the honest truth, always stood true to his principles, like always stand his ground in what he believe in. And when you're someone that speak your mind, society tends to scorn you, and society tends to treat you like an outcast. And I believe that's what happened. And people came at him and started clowning him, and I think that really pushed him over to the edge. I think he was already at that point where he just didn't want to live anymore. But I think from the bullying that he got from those haters that came into his comment section, I think that was a done deal. That was what sealed the deal for him. And I think he never really had support. He may have had friends, but I think he was so smart above. He was like way advanced, man, in terms of how he see things. I could listen to this man. I could tell that he was highly intelligent and wise beyond his years. But the thing is that when you're so smart and you think so deeper, and you think deeper than things that people see, and you look at things in a deeper way, you're gonna feel like an outcast, man, because most people are not gonna look at it the same way you see it, or most people are incapable of thinking outside the social norms of what they are used to. So I think that impacted the way he basically feel about himself, feel like he never fit in. That's why he made that video about embracing the darkness, because at that point he just didn't feel like there was the purpose to live, because he was living amongst a bunch of sheep. So unfortunately, he ended up killing himself by shooting himself in the head. I'm not sure exactly what method, if that was the method, but I did. I don't know if somebody confirmed it or not, but they did end up committing suicide, and that was a devastating blow to the Black Pill community, because like he was one of those like real like people look forward to listen to his video. I mean, it's depressing because I never was someone that spoke about just ended my life or going through a series of depression, which we all do as human beings. But I never endorsed that idea that you should just end it. Like I always believe that there's always a purpose greater than us, like we have to serve on this earth, and no one should just kill themselves because it's easier said than done. It's harder than what it is, especially when you're going through depression. But the thing is that no one should resort to that I've like you got to keep fighting. You got to live to if you live to fight another day, that's another victory. And people don't accept you for who you are. Most people are not going to accept you. You're gonna have your differences and stuff, but it's about learning to embrace that and just staying true to yourself. I feel bad, man, because I'm like Renegade1 was a smart guy, man, but he was a tormented soul. But I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna switch over to Baraka McKray, man. I felt the pain that this guy was going through, man. The time that he was going through, long periods of depression, the loneliness, not feeling wanted or accepted. You know, I honestly could relate to a lot of these videos, but I never really allowed it to consume me because I found things to keep myself busy. But I could tell that that man, Barack McKray, was a tormented soul, man. That he was in a lot of pain, a lot of agony. He was going through a lot of depression, and he never had anyone that he could console and confide in that um understood his point of view. I feel a lot of people were looking at him as if he was a reject or he was weird or something like that. So no one really reached out to him. I think he never had anyone he could talk to. I mean, he may have had family members that made it attempts to reach out to him, but I feel like he felt alone and he was not, in the right place. I feel with all the stuff he was going through, he was just never in the right place where he needs to be, head in the headspace. So, man, I feel so sad for these guys that committed suicide due to true false loneliness, depression, and anxiety, whatever mental issues they're going through. Man, I feel it. I feel it for them because a lot of guys go through the same thing, but not many guys are willing to share their experiences online because they don't want to be judged. Because you got people who repost their videos like trolls, such as "You wouldn't like me when I get gutter." You got troll channels like that who will repost their videos and basically troll them, and they'd be the laughing stock of society. And it's like sad, man. It's like guys can't come on and express how they really feel about life. Like men are ashamed for being vulnerable. And I'm not saying, like it's nothing wrong with speaking your mind. It's just that society tends to shame men for expressing themselves about any struggles they may be going through. Like society tend to shame and belittle men. And I feel so bad for those guys, man, because you could tell that they really was like they was crying out for help. You could see in their videos that there's desperate cry for help, but there were no one that was immediately like in the immediate circle that was like doing the best they can to help these people cope with their depression. Like it's one thing to just text someone and say how you're doing it, and even talking to them over the phone, it can only temporarily helps with the feeling of depression. You have to like interact with people in person, like really talk to them face to face and really reach out to them on a personal level for them to feel accepted, because I honestly don't believe they felt accepted by even their loved ones. And I heard that Baraka McKray killed himself by setting himself on fire, and that's one of the most horrible way to die, man. Not only are you gonna die from, smoke inhalation, but the fact that you're burning yourself, being burned to death. Like that is just a horrible, horrible way to go out, man. He must have been in so much pain and agony that he just didn't want to deal with it anymore, and he just wanted to clock out. Man, I felt that. I felt it because I was like, he was a lost. He was a not saying he was a lost soul in terms of just his suicidal tendencies. Yeah, he was a lost soul. He was going through a lot psychologically, man. Like he started having warped point of view. I think once you've been isolated from society for a long, long period of time, talking about you go hours and hours without contact, without talking to another human being or interact with another person, that does take a toll on your mental health. And I feel like because Barack McCray was isolated for such a long period of time, that literally fucked up his mind. Like he had a warped view of life. He was talking to himself. He had like a doll called Bathsheba, and he was saying some very weird, strange things. And I feel like people tend to look at something like that and they will clown the person and say, "Oh, this dude is just a weirdo," like, you know what I mean? And they will call him names and stuff like that. But that's when you see someone displaying certain traits that show that they're going down the dark end. That means they need help, man. That's a desperate cry for help. I feel he had no one to really go to, no one to really talk to. That his mind is like it went down the dark end, man. And he started talking to a dog called Bathsheba, like I said before, and had like a pyramid. It was very satanic. Like he was having the candle on, the lights were off, and he was, I don't know, man. It was just bizarre. But you could tell that his whole mind got warped into some other very dark space because he had no one to really talk to, man. That man he was suffering with loneliness, man. Baraka McCray was suffering from lonely. Like he was a true TFLer, man. Like that's why I respect these are the real TFLs. Like there's some guys that will post the hashtag TFL like on their title, and I'm like, these dudes are frauds. Like they're not really going to true false loneliness. They just using the TFL name to bring in more views because there's a lot of guys going through true false loneliness. So they will use the hashtag TFL so that a lot of people could watch their videos because a lot of guys are going through it. So I don't want to name names, but there's a lot of fake TFLers, or you call them people who are just like pretending. Apparently, this one guy that always used the word TFL, he's with a girl now, and he was doing an Uber drive thing, and he met this girl through Uber and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you've been in relationships before. You dated girls before. You didn't travel from some true false loneliness. You may had like a little, there had a little stage where you go through a rough patch where you're not getting no attention or affection from women, but you had past relationships with women where you got intimacy, you got sex, you got everything that a man will want from a woman. And I've been through that. I've had gotten that, and I don't try to eat off of the people. I don't try to use TFL in my comment section because I don't like to bite off of the movement. But you got a lot of fake TFLers that are really not about the life of that, but they just hop on the movement because it's like it sounds good. And guys like Baraka McKray, Nick, what's his name, man? I keep forgetting his name. Forgot his name again. Renegade1, yeah, Renegade1. Those were true TFLers, and even Kent up to the point before he got a girlfriend. It's a TF. Oh, here's another true TFL. It's a true TFL. Savvy guy. Savvy guy is another guy that's going through true false loneliness, man. I'm talking about in order for you to relate to the movement, because I don't really associate myself as a true TFLer, but I've been through it before, so I can relate to what they go through because once you've gone through it, it's not something you want to risk on anybody. But guys who are dealing with TFL, guys who suffer from true loneliness, or involuntary guys who are involuntary celibate. Those are guys who haven't gotten any attention, hardly any attention from women. Like they haven't gotten in any dates. They haven't gotten any dates or relationship with women. They gone long periods of like without even talking to women. I'm talking about there are guys like Savvy Guy. Savvy Guy hasn't even. I'm not sure, but I think he's a virgin. Savvy Guy said he hasn't even gone on a date for years and years and years on end, man. Like he hasn't got a girlfriend. Yeah, I've had relationships before. I had a girlfriend before. But when you go through like droughts like that, man, those are like real TFLers. Those are guys that I could say, yeah, they're going through true false loneliness. But guys that come into the movement and use hashtag TFL, hashtag Black Pill, they use these names just to generate views, but they've been in a multiple relationship but it's because the girl doesn't stay with them long term. They I see. That's why I said these guys are one blowjob away from entering the plantation. So that's why I said a lot of these guys are just pretenders. They come into the movement and they hijack the movement and they infiltrate the movement and pretend as if they're really about the brothers. But as soon as they get another girl, they move on, man. They're never gonna post a video talking about what's going on in their life. They delete their videos, they remove their channel, they just move on, and they just completely turn it back on their so-called TFL brothers. But they pretend like they were supporting the movement. They're fake, they're phony. So most of these guys are not really in it for the right reason. Like I said, a lot of them are just pretenders, they're fakes. So guys like Savvy Guy, those are guys I'm gonna support all the way. Like I'm gonna be sympathetic towards a person like him because he's literally going through years and years of like true false loneliness, like not being able to go on dates, not having a girlfriend, spending long periods of time to yourself, not having anyone to talk to, not really having a social life. When I see things like that, and I see guys like Savvy Guy doing that, going through that, man, I resonate. I feel for them because those are the guys I say, oh, they're really about that life. They're really about the TFL life, and I'm like, oh man, I feel sorry for those guys because I like I said, I've been through it before, and I know how it feels. It's not a good feeling. But I always try to improve myself because I never want to stay in the same position that I'm in. That's the thing with me. I've always been like the person that challenged the way I think. I always try to improve and grow in different ways. But it's not healthy for nobody to stay to themselves for long periods of time. I don't care how antisocial you are. I don't care how introverted you are. Like there comes a time where you're gonna need to talk to a human being. Like we're social beings. Like we need that human to human connection. We need that interaction. It's not healthy for a man to be alone. The Bible says it's not good for a man to be alone. I'll make a suitable partner to keep him company. So if it's written in the Bible, it's like God already is already written in the Bible. God knows that it's not healthy for no man to be alone. You know what I mean? Like literally, that would seem like any man that stays to themselves and suffer from the loneliness and they isolated from society. They go crazy, man. They go haywire. That's what happened with Baraka McKray. My hypothesis is that he went on the deep. He was the reason why he made all those disturbing videos is because he was dealing with like really dealing with true false loneliness. Like that man was literally isolated from society. He never had anyone to really talk to. He may have family who try to reach out to him, but they didn't really understood or relate to him. So he felt alone because he didn't have anyone that could really talk to him on that level. I'm sure he had like some other TFL brothers that he may interact with, but he don't talk to them often. And it's like it's one thing to talk to someone over the phone versus talking to them face to face. It's a whole different ball game. If you don't have like an actual friend that you can hang out with in the flesh, it's like you're still dealing with loneliness. I mean, you may have like a friend that you talk to over the phone and you guys have conversations, or you may have like people who you reach out to through Facebook, Instagram, and various social media platforms, and you talk to them and interact with them. It's good. It kind of helps temporary with that loneliness, the feeling of being lonely, but it doesn't permanently fill that void. Like the best way to really get over the loneliness is to meet people face to face, interact with people face to face, and like have like a friend or two that you hang out with during the weekends and stuff. But if you don't have like that social life, it's gonna be hard for you to live a normal life, man. So what I'm trying to say is that guys like Baraka McKray, Savvy Guy, like those are guys who really went through true forced loneliness, man. And they go on years and years without having a lot of human to human interaction. It's not just even not having a girlfriend, which is a big part of it. But the other part is that they don't have a lot of friends, they don't have a lot of people to talk to. And a lot of times when they try to hang out with people, people tend to, you know, treat them like an outcast because they see them as weird. So it's like when you don't have people who see eye to eye with you, they tend to treat you like shit. And they will make you known that you are odd, man. Something about you is weird. So it's really bad when you don't have that connection with people. Like you can't relate to people on that deeper level. So I could relate to that, and I mean I've overcome it because I don't allow the feeling that I have. I realize everything you go through is temporary. It's never permanent. So it's hard. It's easier said than done when you're going through it at the stage of your life where you're going through the loneliness, the depression, the anxiety, whatever you may be going through. It feels like it's gonna last for a long, long time. But you realize after you go, if you just survive and just ride through it, the whole motion, your feelings start eventually getting better, and you start feeling better about yourself, and then stuff start working out, and you start having, you know, something that it motivates you to get up in the morning. You gotta have a why, and that's one thing I have to teach myself how to prepare, how to, get over the depression. It's like you gotta have a why. You gotta have a why. Like you gotta say, what's the reason why I get up every day to go about doing certain things? Like I have a why. Like you gotta know what you are, what your purpose is in life, and what you're trying to fulfill on this earth. If you don't have a why and what you do, it's like you're gonna feel empty inside. And I think a lot of times what happened with these TFL brothers or guys who are going through true false loneliness, they don't have a why. and they don't know what purpose they serve because they don't feel like they have anything to live for. So when you reach that stage where you are like at the lowest part of your life and you feel like empty and you feel that void, it's like honestly a lot of times you just feel like you're better off dead than alive, because when you think about it, when you don't feel like you have a purpose to serve, or you don't feel like you're here for a reason, it's like you feel like you're basically a dead person walking. You don't feel alive internally. You feel like you're dead inside. And that's what I think happened to these TFL brothers. Well, the two like committed suicide, Renegade1 and Baraka McKray. I feel like they just felt so dead inside. They felt like, okay, I don't have a purpose. I don't have a reason to live. So they're like, I'm better off dead than alive. And my hope is that Savvy Guy will pull through, because there was some very questionable video that he posted before in the past where I could tell like he was on the deep end, like he was he was on the edge of just like ending it too. But I feel like his faith is a little bit stronger than the other TFLers because he was raised in the church, but he also been posting still, like he still posts videos on his actual channel. I think it's Savvy Guy is the name of his YouTube channel. So he still posts videos on his actual channel. So I could tell he still, is doing the best he can to survive. But man, like I know this man is definitely going through a lot. But to bring it back full circle, I just want to say rest in peace to Renegade1 and Baraka McKray. I would say this: no matter where I'm at in my life, I don't care how successful I am, I don't care how much money I make, I don't care what stage of my life I'm in. I could be a multi-millionaire. I could have a wife. Well, I'm not gonna marry a woman according to the state license and stuff. But if I have a woman that I'm with, and I'm with her long term, and we end up having a family, I'm not gonna switch up on my TFL brothers, man, because I've been through that. I know what it feels like to go through true false loneliness, and I'm never gonna look down on my brother who are dealing with that depression. I'm not gonna talk down to them. I'm not gonna belittle them. I'm not gonna call them names, because I know what it feels like to be treated like an outcast and be a scapegoat of society. So no matter how successful my life ends up being, I may have I have I mean most likely I'm gonna have kids of my own. But even with all of that being said, I'm still gonna pay homage to TFL, my TFL brothers. I'm still gonna be like, I wish nothing but the best, because I want the best to happen, because there's a lot of guys who are suffering in silence, man. There's guys who don't even make videos that are going through the same thing that Savvy Guy is going through. That's going through the same thing that Baraka McKay was going through, and Renegade1 was going through before they killed themselves. There's a lot of men that are going through the same thing. There's over I won't be surprised if there are over millions of guys that are dealing with true false loneliness, or as they would say, that are involuntary celibate. I feel the TFL movement is a little bit different from involuntary celibacy, because the reason why I separate the two, because with me, TFL, true false loneliness, is not just it's not just a fact that have you don't have sex, you're not able to have sex with women for whatever reason. I feel like true false loneliness is like involves everything. You don't have friends, you don't have a lot of friends, or you may not have any friends at all that you can hang out with. You don't have anyone to talk to. You don't have a community of people you could go to express yourself. Like you feel like you're alone. You don't have anyone that could relate to you. I feel like that's a separate thing to me with TFL versus the involuntary celibate thing. Because I feel like those guys who go to TFL, they're like the ultimate like black pill like movement, like, because the TFL to me is when you honestly don't have anyone whatsoever. Like you are a complete reject, or you're seen as a reject according to society standards. So you ultimately have no one but yourself. And like I said, no one can be by themselves for long periods of time without going crazy, mentally losing their mind. And I feel that's what happened with Baraka McKray and Renegade1. Well, I feel like Renegade1 was a little bit different than Baraka McKray. What's up, Lyrical Leisure? I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing good. I'm just trying to hang in there, man. I'm trying to like get my stuff together. I actually have made a lot of progress with work and stuff like that. But I'm talking about, in this video I'm giving I wanted to make this video way before, but I just haven't had the time. I got caught up with a lot of stuff, but I wanted to say rest in peace to Baraka McKray and Renegade1. Like for me, my life is in a lot of. It's like I'm doing a lot better now than I was before. I don't know if you know the whole life story of what happened with my job, but when I moved to Connecticut, I moved in the hopes of commuting closer to my job, and then once I moved, you know, I ended up getting laid off, so I had to like struggle to find a job. To make a long story short, I'm in this position right now where I'm working towards getting my license so I could work for insurance agency at home, doing my own hours, making a whole lot more money. So I'm in a much better place right now, and I'm like happy. And I'm not saying I'm like in a good mood, but I could say I'm in a better headspace. So that's currently my life situation right now, and I'm just trying to work to the best of my ability to make sure I get everything situated with that. I still have to go through a whole lot of courses. It's a lot of material to go over, but it's definitely worth the effort. And I pretty much could work in my own with my own hours and kind of like do a lot with that. But Dark Dimension, why did you remove the comment? I wanted to read it, man. Dark Dimension, can you repost that comment? Because I didn't. I don't want you to feel like I'm ignoring you. I was about to read your comment. Thank you, Lyrical Leisure. Anything in life just takes effort, man. It just takes effort, and it just takes courage. But yeah, I don't like. I made this. I had this in mind to make this video before because I was like, I'm gonna pay my respect to the TFL brothers, man. Guys who are going through true false loneliness. It's not a good feeling, man. No guy should have to deal with that. No guy should have to go through that. But I had to, say rest in peace to Baraka McKray and Renegade1, man. Because I know these guys, man, were suffering a lot, yo. They were dealing with a lot of mental problems and they just never felt accepted by others or society. They were just outcasts, the social outcasts of society. So I was talking about that, and if you just came into my stream, I was going to more details about that because I remember watching Barack McKray back in the days where he used to post these videos, and I realized that man was just like he was going through a lot of problems, but his videos got increasingly more disturbing, and I realized that people were clowning him in the comments. Like people were making fun of him. They were calling him names. They were saying things about him. And I realized this dude, it's a desperate cry for help, but nobody was like, you know, really reaching out. I think most people, when you're really on social media and you're showing signs that you have a clear problem. Most people are gonna be making fun of you. They're not gonna be like, oh, you need help. You need to get therapy or you need someone to talk to. Honestly, I'd be like the best form of therapy is having a friend that you see face to face that actually talk to you on a regular basis, man. Dark Dimension said, unfortunately, no one can handle to be alone. Baraka tried everything to talk to female, and he said how he had autism. Yeah, I know that he mentioned that in his videos. Dark Dimension. Oh, by the way, thank you, Lyrical Leisure, for the kind wishes. And it's just like with artwork, everything is possible. So thank you, like Lyrical Leisure. But yeah, going back to Dark Dimension, I knew he was struggling with that. He said he had autism, and that's a hard thing too. When you may have like a disability, or you may struggle with some type of social, you may be socially inept in different ways. That takes a hit on your confidence. Well, I feel like certain people they're on the spectrum. Some people are more on the higher spectrum, like they don't know how to read body language or social cues, and other people are better able to pick up on that. But I feel no matter what, it's like if you still try to interact with women and you're having a hard time, and people tend to not want to deal with you, it's just like what else can you do? Because it's like a lot of times people just don't, they just have certain things that they have, the certain traits that may come off as like odd or something like that. And it's like nothing is wrong with the person. It's just that they just think differently, you know. And the thing with Baraka McKray, he wasn't a virgin. He had a girlfriend. I think he had like a short term relationship. If I'm not mistaken, he talked about in his video how he was with a girl, and he said that he was low key funny too. I feel like besides Savvy Guy, I believe besides Savvy Guy, man, Barack McKray is one of the funniest TFLers in the space, in the black pill space, because he was talking about how he was dealing with this woman, and something like, oh, it felt like, it felt good on a dick. He was saying some weird shit. I was like dying, but he was like, he didn't want to deal with her because she had, I think, something about how she had kids. I'm not sure if he had kids or so. It's something like that where he didn't want to stay with her anymore because she has something that, he didn't want to settle for that. So I think after he started dealing with her, he never had any other women that were with him. You know what I mean? So that's when he really went down the dark end. But Dark Dimension said, I have ADHD and social anxiety, and it's hard for me to socialize with people, and I'm still trying. Yo, trust me, Dark Dimension, you're not the only one going through that. I suffer from social anxiety too. I feel the way the problems you have is dictated by the way society treats you, or your environment, how people interact with you. If you get a lot of negative reinforcement, you're not gonna have confidence to socialize with people. And we live in a very judgmental society where if you talk a certain way and you act a certain way and it come off as weird, people are gonna talk about negative stuff about you, and they're gonna make you know that something's wrong with you. I feel society in itself alienates people who are considered different or unique in their own way, because I feel like if you're going out yourself to talk to people, you're much better than just staying to yourself. I feel at least you're going out there and interact with people. I mean, what's it's better than staying to yourself and dealing with depression, and loneliness. And I feel people who have these situations that they're dealing with ADHD, like you said, and social anxiety, I feel like it's not that people always say, you just got to put yourself out there, and that you just got to have the confidence to talk to people. It's more than just having a confidence. I feel your the way you think about yourself and the way you interact with people is shaped based on the reinforcements you get from society. So if you have a lot of negative reinforcement, you have a lot of experience where people will call you names. Well, you had very bad social interactions with people where you may have talked to someone, or you interact with people, and then they were making fun of you for saying something that was odd or strange, and you felt like an oddball, like, or you was being made fun of, and you felt like you was the weirdo of the group. Like when you go through those situations in life, and you have a lot of negative experiences, that's going to shape the way you think and how you feel about certain situations. So you may be a little bit more withdrawn, a little bit more to yourself, more enclosed, because you have received a lot of negative reinforcement. And I feel society tends to stigmatize those who are different. Because if you don't act like the crowd, if you don't talk like everyone else, if you don't speak like everyone else, you don't carry yourself like how people want you to carry yourself, like they're gonna treat you differently, man. They're gonna make you know that something is strange or weird about you. So I honestly, I could relate to that. But the thing is that with me, I just try to go in with the expectations with a positive mindset, because when I go out there and I try to do things, I try to challenge myself in different ways. I try to learn just how to, read people. But it's also a defense mechanism too, because not everybody you're supposed to be comfortable with talking to, because not everyone have good intentions. You got people that have just live in a world. They're living in a different world, man. If you really look at it, a lot of people are dealing with their own personal issues, but they also have demons or energies that are like negative that are attached to them. So it's like I feel also having that ADHD or that social anxiety is also a way of it's a self preservation type of thing where you just avoid certain people, man, because you're like, I don't want to be hurt, I don't want to be taken advantage of, I don't want to be used, and a lot of times it's for your own benefit to just avoid certain people. I'm not saying it's good to just stay to yourself and be a hermit and be a misanthrope, because I feel a lot of TFLers. I think pretty much a good portion of TFLers are misanthrope. I would say 95% of TFLers are misanthrope. The other 5%, they're not really TFLers, but they like to associate with TFL movement because a lot of guys go through it. They just do it for the views and stuff. Like I said before earlier in this video in this live stream, there you got a lot of fake TFLers or I say infiltrators that will come in and hashtag TFL, hashtag Black Pill. They use these titles in their videos, and they're not going through TFL. I mean, they may go through like a stage where they don't have no play from women. They may go through like a little you call it a dark, what do you call it, a dry stage where they're not having any women. So then they just hop on the movement and say, hey, I'm going through TFL. Man, you're not going through TFL. If you had been through multiple relationships, you had sex before, you're not really a TFLer. And I don't like when people do that. They'll eat off the movement and they will pretend as if they're dealing with it. To me, a true TFLer, which I don't really associate myself with because I've been through it before, but I've had relationships before. You know what I mean? So to me, a true TFL is someone like Savvy Guy, someone like Baraka McKray, someone like Renegade1. I heard Renegade1 had women that like him, but I think Renegade1 was a mental cell. I feel like his mind was so advanced that he just couldn't relate to people on that level mentally. What he's he TFL could be, but I think the real TFLers like Savvy Guy and Baraka Mikhail, guys like going through long droughts. I'm talking about years and years where they don't have no interaction with women. They're dealing with the loneliness for long periods of time. Those are the true TFLers to me. All right, let me see. I honestly believe the reason why we are all by ourselves is because our looks matter. I believe so. Our looks determine how our life is gonna be. I believe the way people perceive you also determines how they treat you. If you're dressed a certain way, if you're of a certain height, if you have a certain physique, people tend to treat you based on the way they look at you. And if you are not the predominant like guys that society like to uphold to a certain standard, if you just like different where you don't wear certain clothes, you don't act a certain way, yeah, then people are gonna act like something, they're gonna mistreat you, they're not gonna treat you right. You said, I've dealt with women plenty of times, but my situation is deeper than that. My upbringing is the true cause of my dealing with TFL. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I believe your upbringing has a lot to do with too. Like if you was raised a certain way, if you're raised in an environment where you was treated unfairly, where you don't have a lot of people that were nice to you, if you was abused by your mother, your father, or both, verbally, mentally, I that does has a scar, that leaves a scar on your life where you suffer from social anxiety, you suffer from depression, low self-esteem. So I definitely agree with you that your childhood does play a big part in it. So I'm not discounting, that part. That's what I'm saying. Like each person has their own problems, but I'm just saying that you got those people who don't have those as much problems like that, but then they use the name as like a crutch or just a way to get views. And I don't really rock with fake TFLs, man. I don't really rock with those people, man. I don't. Yeah, Dark Dimension said, yeah, I honestly believe my childhood played a big role of me living TFL. You know what? I don't know if you guys can relate to me, but were you guys ever like, even at a young age, you guys were isolated for long periods of time? Did your like mom had you sleep in your room by yourself, or you never really had a lot of people to socialize with? You may not have a lot of friends. Even at a young age, you were like are prevented from making friends as much, or you had to stay inside the house a long periods of time, so you didn't develop those social skills that you needed to learn at a younger age. So you lack those social skills growing up. And also, I don't know if you guys can relate to, but do you guys ever had, were your guys ever bullied? Also, bullying it plays a big part in affecting how we view ourselves, especially when we're young. We go through law, especially guys that that are identified as TFL, or guys who have been bullied for a long time when they were younger. So yeah, that if you've been bullied, man, that's gonna definitely leave a negative impact in your life, man. You're gonna suffer with identity crisis. I had to reinforce certain beliefs in myself to not fall into that trap of feeling depressed and not allow my childhood trauma to affect the way I see myself, because yeah, that does, your childhood plays a huge part in it, man. You Lyrical Leisure said, yes, my grandmother didn't let us socialize at all unless it was our cousins. And I could relate to you, Leisure. Not my grandmother really per se, but I would say like my mom really didn't allow me to socialize as much. Cause I remember this one time, and I'm just gonna say it. I remember this one time I had like this best friend I was hanging out with, and he had like the whole, like, the old Pokemon games on the Nintendo Switch and stuff. I was an avid Pokemon fan. I used to love playing Pokemon. I had all the different versions: the blue, the yellow, the silver, the gold, the ebony. Like I had all the sapphire. I had all the different versions. So I used to go over his house and used to hang out, and we just play. And he was like he was like a best friend of mine. We just clicked automatically. We played Pokemon, we played Digimon, but mostly we played Pokemon. And I remember one time my mom was so called looking for me, but she knew I was outside. I didn't stay in the house all day, because I mean, who wants to stay inside and be depressed? So when I came out, she was screaming at me. She like found out she finally saw me, and she screamed out my name and said, "Come back in the house." So through that trauma, man, I didn't really was allowed to, I guess, have friends. I had a parent. I was paranoid of meeting people, and because I used to stay at his house, my best friend, I used to stay at his house. I used to go with, hang out with him, and his mom will like cook me food, and she's like, "Did you eat anything from them?" So all that negative reinforcement, it made me paranoid of trusting people. Like I'm like I didn't go. Like after a while, I just basically was I stayed to myself, and that definitely affected the way I socialized, because that was like one of the true best friends I've had. Like I said, this guy, we were like brothers. We hang out along for long periods of time, and my mom was scared that I was abducted or something. It was weird, man. And after that experience, I never really interacted with a lot of people. I mean, I had friends here and there, but like when you gone through something traumatic like that, where your mom or your grandmother, like Leisure said, they don't let you socialize with people, it's like they're depriving you of the most fundamental skill you need to learn as a youth, is being able to socialize, learning how to socialize with people, making friends. So once you have been deprived of that and you grow up, you don't have that intuition to like know how to meet people and how to make friends, because you don't have those skills, like you haven't been trained how to do that. So that does definitely has an impact, man. Lyrical Leisure said, I was bullied several times. I think you mean several times as a youth by family and outside. Yo, you're not the only one. You're not alone with that, bro. I was bullied too. Um, and my family, I feel like I went through more verbal abuse than anything. I mean, I went through physical abuse also, but when it comes on to like my immediate family, or like my sisters, because I was the second oldest in the family, right? And I had nothing but sisters until like I later on I had a brother. So, but on that time I felt alone because I didn't have any brother to hang out with or talk to. But I went through a lot of verbal abuse, man. Just like a lot of verbal abuse, man. And it's just like unfortunate. It's like when you run family member, and they're saying negative stuff about you, or you got people who are looking down on you, they speak ill things about you. It's just like it affects your mental health, man. It affects the way you see yourself. Because we all want to be accepted. Nobody wants to be left out. Nobody wants to feel alone. Nobody wants to feel you know, like they don't fit in. I think a lot of times what happens is that when we have received so much negative reinforcement during our youth, subconsciously we just accept it as normal. And I'm like, yo, it's never normal to be treated like crap. Like it's never normal to accept that you should be alone. You should be fine with being alone. Like, no, it's nothing normal about that. Like, we are social beings. Like, we're supposed to meet people, have friends. But one thing I developed is a lack of trust with people because I've been stabbed in the back before by so-called friends. So I feel right now my best way to avoid it is just not to deal with people altogether. That's why I said majority of TFLers, like the real TFLers, are misanthrope. And if you don't know what misanthrope means, misanthrope is basically someone that don't like to interact with humans, like someone who likes to stay to themselves. And I think majority of us TFLers are misanthropes because we've been hurt before by so much people that we just develop a lack of trust with people. And we like, the best way to avoid issues is to just not deal with people altogether. But we need to form our own community of people that we can relate to because we don't. I mean, no one's supposed. You can't be all by yourself for too long, man. It's never healthy. It's never good to be alone for long periods of time, man. I mean, society will already, already know society have labeled us as social outcasts. So if you are not accepted by society, the best thing we could do is like form a group of people who can relate to us, and we can form a community amongst those people, and making videos to help other people that may deal with similar things that we're going through, because it's like we all never started as this. Like, we were born into this world, we never had this idea that we were going to be alone, or are we going to deal with TFL. Like, that was never a part of our makeup. We were shaped by the environment that we were raised in. We were shaped by our peers. We're shaped by our family. We're shaped by people we interact with. Those are the people who had an influence in how we view ourselves, man. And I feel a lot of us have gone through a lot of trauma, and that's the reason why we suffered. That's why a lot of us go through a lot of issues because of the negative reinforcement we had as children growing up. So yeah, let me ask another question. So since you guys, you have gone through a lot of childhood trauma, were you ever called names when you were getting bullied? Did people call you weird or strange or odd or lame? Like, did you ever got called names as a child, even up to now, like even as an adult? Do people call you any type of like sabotaging names or labels that make you question yourself, like make you feel like something is wrong with you? Like, because I know a lot of guys who go through this stuff, man, where people will call you like weird or something like that because you don't seem to fit in, or something about you is different. So any of you guys had to go through that situation where you guys were called names? I mean, bullying is more than just physical. It's also verbal. A lot of times people think you're bullied is because someone is physically harassing you. It's not like only physical. It can be verbal too. And people think, oh, words don't hurt, man. Words has a huge impact on how we view ourselves. So what you guys, if you guys can answer my question, let me know what you guys think. Dark Dimension and Lyrical Leisure, were you guys ever called names as a child growing up, or even up to now? Do you guys get called any type of labels? Or it may not even be from it could be from women, it could be from your family, it could be from anyone. Like, because I feel the stigma is a lot, it plays a lot of it has a lot to do with it too, because when you are stigmatized by others, it shapes the way you see yourself. So I feel a lot of people that have suffered or are going through this stuff is because of the stigma. They're dealing with a lot of stigma. So certain labels certain labels are put on them, and they have to struggle with dealing with that. So let me know what you guys think. Were you guys ever called names growing up, and how do you guys cope with it? Or if anything, how do you guys manage to deal with that, type of label? Because for me, I recall names, but I had to, find certain outlets to how to deal with it in a positive way, and how to not allow it to eat at me, you know? Oh, okay. So lyrical issues, like, oh man, I didn't know these comments just randomly show up. Okay, let me go through the original part. I don't want to skip over anybody's comment. Oh, okay. My grandmother didn't let us socialize at all, unless it was. I think I addressed that one. I was bullied severely as a youth by family and outside. Okay, I addressed that. I meant our cousins. Okay. Yeah, my grandmother played a lot of favoritism, and my grandmother on my dad's family never liked me because I had a little bit of disability, man. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Dark Dimension. It sucks when the family member, you know, play favorites and treat one member of the family better than the other. And it's like they make it obvious that that you are the one that is the black sheep of the family. And when they do that, and it's like they they treat you in a type of way where you just know that they're not treating you fairly. It's like you just don't even want to even be amongst that family. Like you just feel like you didn't want to even be born. Like, why am I here for? Because like that does affect the way you think about yourself. And like you said, because he had a little bit of disability, it's like I mentioned before. The family will make you know that something is wrong with you, whether it be a disability, whether it be like certain your behavioral traits, whether it be the way you socialize. Because we all, we may have like behavioral problems because of the trauma we gone through, or because we may have ADHD, or maybe on the spectrum or something like that. So it's like they will make it known that you have something that is different, and instead of them just embracing you for being you, they are going to single you out, and that's not right. That's not right, man. That's wrong. That's literally family members who do, like, when, because I could relate to that. When you interact with the family, and the family, your an immediate member of your family will do something that you could obviously see that they're singling you out. It just makes you want to just like avoid people at all, in everything in every situation, because it's like even my family member treat me out like an outcast. Even my family member take me for granted. And it's not good, man. That's not good to be treated like that. I'm sorry that you had to go through it, Dark Dimension. Lyrical Leisure said I was always left out. It messed me up badly. Yeah, I was singled out a lot, man. I feel your pain, man. It definitely has a negative impact on how you see yourself. That the whole thing of being left out, it's like it's the worst feeling ever, man. Um, I had an incident what happened with me where I was with my family in the Thanksgiving, and I'm not gonna say no names because it's too personal for me, but I remember, each and every one of us in the family had to say our name and give a reason what we're thankful for, and give something that we're thankful for. And I was skipped over, man. Like, my name wasn't called. Imagine I'm the second oldest in the family, right? We're going around in a circle, and each person is giving their name and giving one thing they're thankful for. And then when it came on to me, this person don't say my name. They went over to the next person. Now tell me how would that make you feel? To just it's like obviously that they single you out, and then you're like, why would you do this to me? And after that incident, I just avoided the family, man. I just like stayed to myself because I realized that when you get treated like that, it's never good to be around people that don't see anything good in you. That just treat you like an outcast, man. So I understand exactly what you're going through, Lyrical Leisure. Dark Dimension said, my first time talking to the female, I was the age of 26 at my job, and I'm 30 years old. Well, I mean, it's better, I commend you for at least having the courage to talk to a woman. I mean, even though you may be, it doesn't even matter. Honestly, age to me is not really that big of a deal. If you have the courage to go up to a woman and talk to her, that's deserving of respect. Because, and even though you may be struggling with a lot of problems where it comes down to having social anxiety or ADHD, at least you put yourself out there. And the worst thing a woman can tell you is no. So it's like, okay, she reject you, but at least I went out myself. I know a lot of guys won't even do that. You know what I mean? So the best thing you can do is pat yourself on the back because you at least have the courage to do it. I got the name calling since fourth grade. Yeah, I got name call. I never was really bullied that much when I was younger. I got into a lot of fights though. But as I got older and I went to high school, I definitely went through a lot of bullying. And the reason why is because I came from Jamaica, and when I moved there, I wasn't dressed in a lot of expensive looking clothes. I wasn't wearing name brands and none of that. My accent was different. And one thing I noticed about American culture is that they tend to single out or stereotype people who come from different cultures or may have a different way of life. So not everybody's gonna have the fanciest clothes, the most name brand clothes. Now everyone is gonna come from a wealthy family, and I don't understand, especially amongst the black community and also the Hispanic community. There's this obsession with like looking fly or dressing a certain way, and it's like we all struggling. We're not like at the top of the social status. Where our family is not making millions of dollars. So that form of bullying, I just never understood because I'm like, the kids that were making fun of you had parents that were working 9 to 5, barely making enough money to get by every month to pay their rent. And yet they're making fun of you for wearing Payless. I was made fun of for wearing Payless shoes. But I'm like, yo, your parents don't have enough money like that to buy you no Louis Vuitton and all of the name brand clothes and all that stuff. So it's like this mindset, I don't know where it came from, but it's like the people who are struggling are the ones who are making fun of people who are struggling. It's like we're all from the same background. So I never understood that. That never makes sense to me, man. That never makes sense to me. You said I got called creepy by girls that learned I like them. Oh man, yo. Oh wait, I skipped one of your comment. My bad. I skipped one of the comments. Oh, Dark Dimension. Sorry for skipping your comment. You said, yes, I was bullied a lot in high school. I got punched in the face. I got beat up multiple times. Oh man, Dark Dimension, man. I'm sorry you had to go through that, bro. And that bullying thing, man, is not cool, bro. I was bullied too, but there are times I did fight. But there are other times I didn't fight, and I felt bad because I'm like I should have defended myself. But what people do is like when they bully you, they tend to do it in groups. Because I had incidences where I was jumped and it was like a group of people. I didn't fight because it's like when you fought one person, they're all jumping and they all hitting you at once. But I also was bullied too, like that. I had to defend myself in certain times. I had to fight back, but it's like you begin to accept that bullying was okay because when you're young and you experience that on a regular. I didn't get bullied all the time, but when you do get bullied a lot more often than other people, you start accepting that okay, it's fine to get bullied. It's okay to be treated like shit. And I'm like, no, man. I had to really train myself to not accept that it's okay to be bullied. Because it's like whatever childhood trauma you had experienced, it starts at the home. So if you're being treated like crap by your parents and your parents don't treat you well, you bring that same mindset into the school and you're vulnerable. People see you as easy pickings because that self-esteem that you have is not there. And that's why the bullies that's why they target you, because they see that you're easy target. Because when you're in a family and your family is not enforcing positive beliefs in you or telling you, you're worth something and that you need to value yourself, and they speaking positive things into your spirit, that makes you vulnerable and an easy target for people to bully at you. But I'm sorry that you have to go through it, Dark Dimension. That's not right, man. That's messed up, man. And the fact is, people knew that you was not. It's not like people thought you was weak or anything. I don't necessarily. People may have thought you was weak. I think people knew you was at a vulnerable state. because people could sense it off of you. They could see, oh, this guy is to himself. He don't have a lot of friends. Oh, he looks sad. He looks, and instead of people are like predators, man. They're like the animal instinct comes out, and they're like, oh, he's an easy target. So let's go at him. Let's just keep targeting him. Let's just beat on him because it gives them a good feeling to know that they're picking on somebody who is below them, who's weaker than them, who they perceive as weaker than them. Because I believe if you really had, reinforcement, positive reinforcement, they could see it. They could see it. The way you carry yourself, the way you talk, the way you just your posture and everything, they wouldn't be so willing to bully you, man. They wouldn't be so willing to like pick on you, man. And I wish we had we were raised in a family where we were trained to fight back, or we were taught certain values that make us know our worth so that we don't get easy target. We don't become easy targets for bullies, man. But I'm sorry that happened to you, bro. Lyrical Leisure said I got called creepy by girls that learned I like them. The creepy term, yo, creepy is the worst thing. Besides being called a pedophile, being called weird, yo, creepy is one of the worst things someone can call you, especially a woman. Especially when you make your intentions known and you tell them you like them or you find them to be interested. And when they call you creepy, man, that's like, damn, like you look at me as if I'm a deranged individual and I creep you out to the point where you don't even want to even come, not even 10 foot close to me. And that whole creepy label, it only applies to guys that women find to be unattractive. Because if you was a guy that she find to be attractive, man, you could have done a lot of weird stuff and she wouldn't find it to be creepy. But if you're not her type, and even if you talk to her and you just interact with her, just a regular conversation, you come off as creepy to her because you're not physically attractive or you're not socially accepted in the group. So if you're like that odd person out, or it's wrong with you personally, but people perceive you as weird, yeah, they're gonna call your type of names like that. And creepy is one of the worst thing a woman can call, man. And that's why, for me, I've been through that experience where a woman will call me creepy, but I call people out if I feel like someone is disrespecting, because it's like at the end of the day, we all have feelings, and no one's supposed to be treated unfairly. And if someone does say something like that and you call them out, they may deny it, but at least you stood up for yourself and be like, that's not nice to call someone creepy. Because I had an incident I forgot to mention. I had an incident one time. I was in the library. I was talking to one of the we call the person the front librarian or whatever. I was talking to her. I was having a regular conversation. And I was asking her questions and stuff, and I was walking away, and I could hear her whispering to one of her coworkers, saying, "That dude is creepy." And then I listened, and I'm like, I look back and I heard. I'm like, I said to myself, did I just heard what I said? So I went up to her and I said, "Did you just call me creepy?" I said, "Listen, don't you ever call me that name. That's so disgusting. Don't you ever talk down to me like that." And she denied everything she said. So, when you deal with people like that, you just avoid them, man. Avoid them at all costs. Don't even look them in direction. Because I feel we live in a society where people, all they want to do is talk negative about others. And if anyone you come across with, that you interact with, and they give you that weird energy, that vibe where you feel like you're being judged, just cut the conversation short. Be like, you know what? All right, it's good talking to you, and keep it moving, man. Because that's the world we live in. It's just a negative world. Like, people just love to be negative. But thank you for sharing that, Lyrical Leisure. You said the first time I was called ugly was by an auntie. She would then make ugly faces at me for a time. It really affected me. Whoa. Yo, that is so fucked up, Lyrical Leisure, man. I'm sorry that you have to. Yo, that's fucked up, bro. Damn, man. Your whole family, your own flesh and blood. That's why I said, man, your family be the first one to dog you out. And when you have a family that's so close to you that do stuff like that, how is that right to have a family who you trust, someone who's supposed to protect you, someone that's supposed to love you and treat you well, talk to you and do certain things to make you feel unwanted, unloved, unaccepted. It's just wrong on so much different level, man. And yeah, your auntie is a vile human being for doing that to you, man. And you can't control the way you look. I mean, you could do certain things to improve your overall look, but it's like you had no control over that. You know, you were young, and for her to do that to you, it just shows a lack of character in our part. And it's like you didn't ask to be born. That's one thing I don't understand with society and family. When it comes down to family treating you wrong, it's like you never asked to be born. I never asked to come into this world, and now I'm being treated like a criminal for something I didn't ask to be. And that's why a lot of people who deal with TFL, they develop this disdain for people, because it's like I was asked to be born, but yet I was treated as if I'm a criminal. Like, you're gonna penalize me for something I can't control. Like, I can control how tall I am. I can control my facial structure. I can control how my body is shaped. I mean, obviously, there's things you could do to improve your overall physical well-being, but at the same time, it's like there's certain things that are beyond your control, and it's like people treat you as if you are God. Like, you could just automatically shape your face to look a certain way, your jawline, your facial structure, like your jawbone, your height. Like, you, certain things are beyond your control. But the point, going back to what you're saying, I really I'm so upset that you had to go through that. I'm sorry also that you had to go through that, but that's not right, man. No aunt should be treating your nephew like that, man. That's wrong. That's so much. That's so messed up, man. So you also said definitely my mom's side of the family. Yeah, you see, when you got immediate, you got, it's not like you had negative experiences from like outside, like like maybe a cousin or something, a distant cousin, a distant relative or something. I mean, it's still not good, but to have like your mom, like from mom's side, like your aunt, your uncle, your grandmother, like people who are really close to you like that. Oh, come on, man. That's really not good, bro. That's not good. That's bad. So, you said Dark Dimension said all of us are dealing with childhood trauma from our childhood and also depression. Yeah, I think that's what pretty much majority of our TFL guys are dealing with. Well, I don't really see myself as TFL like that no more, but I still resonate with people who go through go through that, because I went through it before. Like I said, I would never switch up on my TFL brothers, no matter where I'm at in life, no matter how much money I make, no matter if I have a family. I will always be loyal to the TFL movement, because I know a lot of men are suffering through it. But I agree with you, Dark Dimension. A lot of guys that identifies with the TFL community are dealing with a lot of childhood trauma, past trauma, what they went through as a child, and they deal with depression. And it's not like depression is something that happens automatically. I believe it's a gradual thing, because no one starts off feeling depressed. Like, no, we didn't born in this world with depression. I mean, obviously, when we were born in the world, we started crying and all that stuff, but we needed the love and affection from our mom. And if we haven't received that love and affection from our parents at a young age, that really is like a cycle, vicious cycle that trickles down and ends up added on to our adulthood. So I feel if you haven't received those positive reinforcement, like I said before, when you're younger, that's going to affect the way you see yourself, and that's going to affect the way you interact with people, and that's going to affect the way you carry yourself. So I agree with you. Definitely childhood trauma has a lot to do with it. Lyrical Lisa said, I got made fun of for shopping at Kmart by the kids who shop there too. Bro, I hate that stuff, man. When you go out in public and you could just tell that, people are, that you're not wanted, or you could just sense it off of people. People may look at you, give you weird stares, eye you, talk about you, or whisper to their friends amongst themselves about you. I never had a lot of bad experiences going out in public, but my thing is that most places that you go to is like made for couples. So I really try not to go out to those events, even though I honestly, if I go out to some place like a movie to watch a movie, or I go to the supermarket. Yo, I honestly don't care if I'm like if I go and I go to enjoy myself, I go to enjoy myself. I had to learn to build up that resistance because initially I felt weird because I'm like I'm by myself and I'm seeing people with with their loved ones, with their partners, and I think pretty much most of the places you go are made for like couples or people who have so-called friends. It's not made for I say lonely. Guys who are single. It's not made for for like environment is not conducive for us. And it's funny to me, a woman that could be single and society will like uphold her and say, you just they will be there to support her. But if a guy is single, man, something is wrong with him. He can't be single. Like, what? What's wrong with you? Weird. Like, you know what I mean? So there's a negative stigma that's attached to guys that are single versus girls versus women that are single. But yeah, that's kind of like the immaturity too. Leisure with what you're saying about the kids. It's just like a childishness or immaturity that I see a lot amongst these younger generation of kids, or even amongst my generation. It's like people don't know how to deal with things in a mature way. They rather just resort to name calling and bashing you and saying things about you behind your back. It's like, man, this is why I avoid people in the first place, because people don't have the mental capacity to handle certain issues or how to treat people. It's like the first thing they're gonna resort to is name calling or saying things about you that are negative. Like instead of just leaving people alone and let people be, and you're not out there bothering them. It's like if people are not bothering, why the hell are you bothering them? I just can't stand that shit, man. What happened to the lonely black pillar? Oh, the lonely black pillar. Darren Miles. I actually don't know what happened to the lonely black pillar. Darren Miles. If I'm not mistaken, is that the guy? Actually, I don't remember who exactly it is, but I I see a lot of guys in the movement that was in the TFL movement that just suddenly just disappeared out of nowhere. And I was actually talking to one black pillar, and I think it's called the TFL man. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a TFL man. I actually got his number because I could tell this man was going through a lot of depression and he was suffering, right? So I actually reached out to him and I got his number and I was texting him and I was like, if you need somebody to talk to, you could always reach out to me. So I was texting him and I was saying reaching out to him and he would take so long to reach out back to me, man. This man wouldn't text me till like a whole week after. I'm like, what? Like he was so closed off, and then he eventually closed his channel. And I tried calling him, tried texting him. This dude never answered me. So I hope he's okay, man. The TFL man, I think that's what his YouTube channel name is. I hope he's okay. I hope he didn't, end up deleting himself. I hope he didn't end up going to the point where he committed, to do the unthinkable. Because that's why I made this video of pain, saying rest in peace to TFLers like Baraka McKray and man, I keep forgetting this guy's name. Renegade1, yeah. Because those guys, if I feel like if they had someone to talk to, they feel, just I feel all it takes is that word of encouragement. Sometimes it just takes someone to speak life into you, to like encourage you to never give up. That's gonna give you a reason to live. You know what I mean? So all it takes is that encouragement. But I don't know what happened to him. I hope he's okay though. So let me keep reading these comments. Wash 4.0 said one word, ninja. If you ain't dressing like they are, if you are not wearing the newest pairs of Nikes or Jordan, they will clown you for it. Oh yeah, definitely, man. That would definitely make you know that, you're different or something is wrong with you for not acting the way they do or dressing the way. Yo, I cannot stand that mentality. WS 4.0. I can't stand that mentality amongst our community, where it's like you're not acting black if you don't dress a certain way or you don't listen to a certain music. It's like not all black people think the same, act the same, feel the same. While you may like, I may not like. This is a general stereotype around being black that I don't understand and I can't grasp because niggas, bro. they're the ones that are ruining it for us because they promote this like thug culture as if it's something cool, and they will dress with their pants sagging out. I'm talking about the typical Pookie and Ray Ray. These are the niggas out here that are running amok, uh, robbing and stealing and killing their own people, and they're the ones that are impregnating all these women. And then when these women get pregnant, they talking about they're no good men because they choose the wrong type of man to get. Yo, that's a whole different topic for another day, bro. But I can't stand niggas, bro. Niggas are the ones that are fucking up this community, man. Because they promote the thug lifestyle, and they make it, and through the music, and not just the music but the lifestyle in general is seen as accepted in the black community. It's like, what's so cool about being a thug? What's so cool about, living a street life? There's nothing cool about that. You either gonna end up in two places. You're gonna either end up dead or in jail. There's no middle ground between that. Like, it's always gonna catch up to you. That life is always gonna catch up to you, man. So I can't stand niggas, man, because they make it seem like it's cool, man, but I don't fuck with that shit. And like you said, man, they're so fascinated with wearing the latest pairs of Jordans and Nikes and name brand. And if you don't wear those type of clothes, then you're a lame, you're a square, you're gay, you're weird, and all that stuff. And I'm like, these same motherfuckers that are making fun of you for not wearing these like name brand upbeat clothes, these niggas are living on Section 8. These motherfuckers don't have a job to their name. They don't even know how to even work on their own. You know what I'm saying? They're using the money that they get from Section 8 to buy all these latest clothes. And instead of you using the money and building a business or investing in you're not using it for that. You're using it to impress the next person. And it's funny, the people who dress like this are the ones who are poor. But the ones who are filthy rich, you don't see them wearing all these extra like expensive looking clothes because they don't want to draw the wrong attention to them. But niggas, they want everyone to see how they look, man. And a lot of times they don't even got the money. They don't even got a dollar saved to their account, man. They don't even have $1,000 saved to account. And like all the money they get from Section 8, from unemployment, anything they get from the government, they use it to buy these expensive. And the thing too, people don't understand, when you buy Jordans and all this stuff, that value of the shoes depreciates. So it's like what you they initially pay for is not going to be worth the price that you're going to sell it for. So all this stuff that people are fascinated with is like, whoa, it loses its value anyway. So why the hell you're so obsessed with wearing all these the latest clothes, these fancy shoes, and it doesn't make sense to me, man. But that's how niggas behave. All right, man. I think I'm shit. Where'd the comment go? Wait, give me 1 second. Okay. All right. So, Lyrical User said, I've seen people who have bullied me in the past recently. Some have that predatory smile when they see me. Ah, man. Yeah. They definitely know exactly what they did, man. And they take good pride in knowing that they hurt you. And one thing I do is that the best revenge to get after these bullies is to be successful, man. The way you turn that around is to like grind, man, and just get on your purpose and make sure that you get your stuff together, because the people who bully you, man, they most likely ain't gonna do much with their life. And a lot of times what these bullies do is they do things to because their life is so miserable, they feel so bad about themselves, they don't know who they are. The way they feel good about themselves is to bring somebody else down. And they know exactly what they're doing. I think these people will never change, and you can't fix somebody who don't want to change. And the best thing you could do is just avoid these people and just focus on yourself and become a better person. And yeah, success is the best revenge. But I feel also learning how to defend yourself is important too, because I'm taking boxing, which I haven't done in a little bit because it's just so expensive for me. But I feel taking on a defense course or learning how to defend yourself is also important, man, because you shouldn't let people just walk all over you. People shouldn't run up on you and think they could like harm you without giving them hell. But I think you gotta prepare yourself how to do that mentally too, because if you've been traumatized in your childhood where you've been abused and you became used to being abused, that's like that's a form of mental abuse that you have to get over too. You gotta rewire your mind to not accept that abuse is okay. So it's also you gotta work on that, which takes a long time to get over too. So it's a journey, you know. All right, let me keep going. Raider, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Raider Cell said, "If a woman call you weird, it's over." Yo, the two worst thing a woman can call you is weird and creepy, man. If a woman call you either one of those terms or strange, bro, just know that that woman is never gonna give you the time of day, and that's like a stigma where it's like it's hard to get rid of because it's like you come to that realization that majority of the people they see something odd about you. If people, not the majority of people, but the people you interact with, because you don't know how everybody feel, but you start thinking that this is normal, and you start thinking, okay, something is wrong with me, and I gotta change things about myself. But I realized you have to not allow those negative reinforcement to affect the way you think about yourself. Basically, don't internalize it. It's hard. It's easier said than done because if you had a lot of social interactions that went negative and then you got women that call you weird, you're like, wait, something must be wrong because it's like, why did she find me to be weird? What did I do that was weird? Well, did I say something that was odd? Did I act weird? Like, you start questioning yourself. And it's like, wow, when you get that negative reinforcement, that really affects your mental health because you start questioning yourself, and you start feeling like something is wrong with you. But the general stigma that comes with it is like it's hard to get rid of. And another thing too is that if you're with a woman and you're talking with her, you vibe with her, and then she all of a sudden switch up and her whole energy change, and she start acting different towards you, and you start getting rave, man, just avoid it because she's gonna start removing herself from your, like, she's gonna start acting distant, and you're not gonna seem to understand why. But then you start realizing that, oh yeah, she's not giving me that positive feedback that I was hoping to get. And if she ends up coming out saying that, man, I find you to be weird, or she say whatever, call you creepy, like I said, those are the worst thing a woman can call a man is weird and creepy. It's like, bro, it's better off just being in the friend zone. To me, even though I don't endorse any man accepting the friend zone, I don't promote that in any way, shape, or form. I feel like it's better for women to put you in the friend zone than label you as a weird and creepy. Because if she label you as weird and creepy, bro, that's worse than being in the friend zone. Because at least in the friend zone, she still see you as a friend, but as a creep and a weird, that's bad, man. It's not good. But shit, just don't give people that their time that see you like that. You know what I'm saying? WS WS 4.0 said, my dad told me when I was 12 that women will never like me. Oh whoever said there's another Savvy Guy said the same thing too. I'm like, how can your father ever tell you something so cruel, man? That's so wrong on so much different levels, man. Because Savvy Guy also mentioned something like that in one of his videos, that his father told him that no woman will ever like him and that he will remain alone for the rest of his life. I'm like, you're literally speaking negative stuff over your kid's life. Like, it's like, what's that word? It's like, it's like you're manifesting their future or something like that. Like, you're speaking that into existence. It's like, instead of you telling them that anything is possible, you're trying to encourage them to be a better person. You're speaking something that is literally gonna, it's like a curse. It's like a curse they're putting on you, man. And Savvy Guy talked about it too, and he said he accepted that, like, like he would never get a woman, and his father was right. And I'm like, damn, yo, that's why I can't stand these baby boomers. The younger generation of folks, they failed us, yo. They failed us. They failed my generation, and they failed the generation that's coming after me. Because I'm in the millennial generation, and the generation that comes after me, these older generation of folks, they failed us, man. And I can't stand them when they are judging us and saying, oh, we're lazy, we're not interacting with enough women. They're the one that failed us, bro. They're the one that instilled us negative thinking. They were there to support us when we need them the most. and they left us fending for ourselves, man. The older generation of folks, they failed the younger generation, and I can't stand when they play this like this moral. They play this superior moral high ground, like they act as if their generation hasn't done anything wrong, and they always want to blame us for all the problems in society. Like the reason why violence is through the roof is because these generation are out of control. But I'm like, these older folks don't want to. They're not even there guiding these kids. They're not being mentors to these younger generation. They weren't there supporting these kids. They left these kids to themselves to figure things out on their own. A lot of these kids were abandoned at a young age. So I don't want to hear shit from these older generation of folks, man. They could miss me with that shit. The older generation of folks failed these younger. They failed the younger generation, bro. They failed them, bro. Because it's not right for your father to be telling you at such a tender age, man, that women would never like you. Like, he's literally putting a curse over you, man. A father's supposed to instill positive core values into their son, like to make him know that he's worth somebody. But yo, that generation, man, they did this wrong, man. Dark Dimension said, wait, Kmart is still in business? In my area, they shut down for good. I'm not sure if Kmart is still in business. I know that a lot of stores are closing down. Like even where I'm at, there was a store that was open for a long time, and they got bought out by like some other business, and they closed down that store, and people know that store for like over a decade. So I don't think Kmart is most likely I don't think it's out of business, but I won't be surprised if a lot of stores are closing because of the fact that this economy is not where it needs to be, and a lot of stores are closing. But I don't think the actual enterprise itself is out of business, because even if they close down, let's say all the stores in the states, they're gonna outsource their business to another country. So they're gonna move and relocate to another country because it's cheaper to keep their business in a different country than have it remain in America. So I don't think the actual enterprise will ever run out of business. But yeah, a lot of stores are closing down because the economy is shitty, man. Um, Raider says going to a movie by yourself is brutal. You'll see couples all the time, and you'll feel absolutely horrible. Yeah, that's the worst feeling ever. But I got so used to it. Well, you could never get fully used to it. I don't think you could ever reach a point where you feel completely comfortable with going to a movie theater by yourself. But I've built up that resistance to not let it phase me, because I said I'm going. This is how I get over it. I go with the mindset saying I went in with the idea that I'm gonna enjoy the movie that I want to watch. I'm not really caring about, even though it's easier said than done, and I still feel a way when I'm seeing couples. And I've seen, married couples, girlfriend and boyfriend, and they sometimes they sitting right next to you. You feel like man, I feel like I don't belong here. But I also have the idea that I went out there with the idea that I'm gonna enjoy this movie, and I don't let other stuff, the distraction, affect my chance of enjoying myself. I took the time and the energy to get ready and go to the movie theater, and I'm not gonna let no one else take that away from me. And I'm gonna make the most of the moment. I'm gonna make the most of it. But it's not easy though, because like I said, most places that you go out, anywhere that is social, it's not made for single man, yo. It's not made for guys that are single. It's literally it's for couples. But I could relate to you. Man, this cough is coming out of nowhere. I could relate to you, Raider Cell. Yeah, it's never a good feeling, man, to go. Oh, that's where you watch movies on HBO Max. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I have an app that I could watch movies that come out for free, but I mean, it's so much different when you go to the movie theater and you could see everything so much clearer, and the sound is much more crispier. It's like you get a much realistic feeling from going to the movie theater. But I see what you're saying, man, because if you go there too often, man, people start noticing, and also I know this too. When you go to the movie theater and you buy the ticket, sometimes they will ask you, "Are you by yourself?" They'll ask you, "Oh, are you with someone else?" And I'm like, "Why does it matter? Did I ask you to ask me that?" And they do that intentionally to rub it in your face to make you look like make you feel left out. Like you supposed to be with someone else. So I have the experience a few times. Like, oh, are you buying your ticket? Are you doing it with someone? I'm like, that's why I sometimes will buy the ticket, the machine that prints out the ticket for you. I buy it myself without going on the countertop because sometimes they ask, are you with someone else? And I don't really go to movie theater that often anymore, so I don't really care. I really don't really care about it that much, but I know what you're saying, man. That used to be a bad. I used to hate that feeling. Oh, Josh Skillful. Good night, bro. Happy Easter. Oh, thank you, man. Good night to you too, man, and happy Easter. I hope you enjoyed your Easter. I don't really celebrate Easter because to me it's a pagan holiday. But I don't like to rain on other people's parade. And if the way whatever tradition you may do and how you celebrate Easter, all power to you, man. If you went to church or you went shopping, whatever it may be, man. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you make the most of it. So yeah, I'm happy. Happy Easter to you also. Dark Dimension said I stopped going to the movies. I could think pretty much a good portion of us TFL guys don't go to movies anymore. Well, not as much as typical we call it normies would. And one other thing too, the normies, the guys that have girlfriends and shit, you know what they do? It's like I can't stand this shit. They will rub the shit in your face. Like you go to the movie theater, right? And you're sitting across from like a couple. Sometimes the guy know that when they know that you're by yourself, right? I don't know if this conscious, they're aware of this, but I think they're all aware of this. They will like intentionally start like feeling up on a girl, kissing on her, being intimate with her, and it's like they're purposely doing it to rub it in your face, like to make you feel some type of way. It's like why you need to be all that lovey-dovey in front of me? Like why the hell are you trying to throw it in my face like that? I don't really care about you. Like I'm not paying you any attention. But a lot of times they'll do that shit. They'll start rubbing on their girls' feet and all that shit, start kissing on them and all that, and make you feel like you're missing out on the shit. But let me tell you something, bro. I've been in a relationship before, bro. It's not all that what it pans out to be, because all this stuff is a facade, but it's never a good feeling, man, when you out there and you see these couples out and about, and then the guy will rub it in your face like, yeah, I got a girl, you don't got nothing. I mean, that's why I see why a lot of you guys don't even go to the movie theaters, because like these assholes will try to rub it in your face, man. Lyrical Leisure said Kmart stores are closed at dark. I was speaking from when I was in the school. Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, a lot of stores are closing away, man. They're closing down, but I mean, the business itself is never gonna close. I actually think Chuck E. Cheese, if I'm not mistaken, ran out of business. Cause I was so in love. I used to enjoy going to Chuck E. Cheese, man, and I couldn't believe when I heard that they were closing down their stores for good. But I don't know if the actual enterprise itself is out of business. But I remembered when I was in New York City, they said pretty much all the stores were closed. Like they were all shut down, and I was like, "What? Chuck E. Cheese of all things?" I used to love going to Chuck E. Cheese. Was it Chuck E. Cheese? I don't think was it Chuck E. Cheese or there's another one. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was Chuck E. Cheese. But things are changing now, man. Times have changed for the worse. What happened, LBP? Darian Miles, are you talking about another one of the person in the comments section, or I don't know who you're referring to? Josh Skillful said, I believe it's better for a woman to reject me right there in the spot rather than wasting my time having me in the friend zone. I agree with you 100%. The reason why I made that friend zone comment before is I never was the type to accept the friend zone. I never did. I blocked the girl that put me in the friend zone. Like I was talking to this one girl, and she made it seem like she was single and ready, available, and then it ends up being that she was in a relationship with this guy, this dude. Cause I should have known something was off, because at one time I was talking to her, she's like, as a man, I know you're gonna eventually want to meet up with me. We're gonna want to talk and we're gonna want to hang out. And she's like, I took a week off from work, and she's like, I'm gonna be on like a mini vacation. I'm like, really? You coming back up north? She's like, not really not where around your area, like more upstate New York. I'm like, wow, where you going upstate for? She's like, well, there's somebody I wanted to go see and all that stuff. I'm like, for real? So come to find out, she went to hang out with this guy, and she posted on her Facebook that me and my babe and all that stuff. I said, you was in a relationship the whole time? I blocked her. Oh my God. And then she blew up my phone, and she was going off and off. But to me, I would never accept the friend zone, because she wanted me to remain friends. And I told her I'm not interested in being friends. There's no way I could be friends with a woman I find to be physically attractive. And it's like, if we're cool, if I like you, man, I want to get it in. I'm not trying to be your friend. What the hell I'm doing being your friend for? You got your female friends for that. But I never accepted the friend zone. Never. But the reason why I referred back to the friend zone, I said it's better for women to just see you as a friend than to her seeing you as weird and creepy. Because that's a whole different like label. You know what I mean? Like, if she sees you as a friend, at least you know she sees you as a friend, and that's it. You can move on. You don't have to ever talk to her again, and you just let bygones be bygones. But if you interact with her and you had a negative experience where she called you creepy or weird, bro, the friend zone is not even there. Like, that's how she see you as a person. You know what I mean? So it's like the stigma that comes with it is a lot more harsh there than she just referring to. Like, if she calls you a friend, even, you may start off as friends. Sometimes friendship can end up becoming relationship too, depending on the dynamic of it. Because if you start off as friends and you guys don't know each other, obviously you guys gonna start off as friends, right? So you're gonna start building that relationship. And if she's single and you guys are vibing with each other, eventually you guys could end up becoming a partner. But if she don't see you as a friend, which if she friends on you, if she's just like, I'm not interested in you like that, at least she don't see you as someone she's attracted to. But when she call you weird or creepy, bro, that's the worst thing a woman can call a man, yo. That's the worst thing, man. But you don't let it phase you. You can't let that bother you at the same time, because it's like her negative opinion of you shouldn't shape the way you think about or influence the way you feel. But yeah, it's not a good feeling, bro. I avoid just so you just avoid people like that. So sorry. Oh, Chuck E. Cheese is still around. Um, yeah, Chuck E. Cheese. That's why I said this is most likely around. But I know in my area when I was in New York City, they were closing down all the stores, man. All the Chuck E. Cheese stores, man. They were closing it down. And I'm not entirely. I'm pretty sure it's Chuck E. Cheese, but I remember growing up, there was a store. Was it Chuck E. Yo, I'm gonna get back to you with that. I'm not entirely sure if it was Chuck E. Cheese or another one. But I know there was one store that used to be open all the time, and they closed it down. And this happened even before the pandemic. But when the pandemic occurred, a lot of stores were closing down. And I call it pandemic because this thing was fabricated in the lab. But that's a whole different story for another day. But with the whole store thing, a lot of stores started shutting down. Like, I remember, like, when I was going through New York City, man, the amount of stores that are like closed that ran out of business was ridiculous. It was so much of them. But yo, that's how the economy is, man. This whole thing is just getting from bad to worse. Sorry, I am only Black Pillar. I probably asked a question before my phone died. Sorry. Okay. You mean I'm only Black Pillar? What happened with I'm only Black Pillar? Yeah. I don't know what happened with I'm only Black Pillar. I don't know what happened. Like I said, some of the Black Pillars and stuff they used to post on their channel. They don't post anymore. They removed their videos and stuff. Some of them deleted their channel altogether. There was just another Black Pillar that used to post a lot, and he used to really have some really insightful videos, and then he just went ghost out of nowhere, and like he just deleted his I don't think he deleted his channel, but he removed all his videos. Forgot his name, yo. Forgot his name, but a lot of Black Pillars. Oh, there's another one. There's another guy. Freak, man, I'm bad with names, man. I forgot this other guy's name. I forgot this other guy's name. Um, Let me look him up. He's one of those old original black pillars. Um, yeah, a lot of them don't post videos anymore, bro. They just got done with that shit. They got done. What's his name? Oh yeah, the Wi-Fi is terrible, man. I hate this Wi-Fi in my. This Wi-Fi is so bad, yo. It's so slow. Now I don't have internet access. Shit, man. I think you were talking about Discovery Zone. They closed on back in the late 90s. That could be it. That could be it. I don't. It may be a different name, but there's a lot. There was a lot. I mean, besides the plan when the pandemic started, a lot of stores closed down. But there was a store. It may be. I don't think that was a name for it, but it could be similar to that. But I'm not really sure. Or was it Showbiz Pizza? Showbiz. I don't know what Showbiz Pizza. I don't know what Showbiz Pizza is. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. Hey guys. I'm gonna wrap this video up in a few. I just wanted to let you guys know, man, that as a man, like I would never turn my back on guys that are going through truthful loneliness, because like I know what it's like to go through that, and like I said in my life, I never switch up, I never change. That's why I said the guys who come in and come out, and they use terms like TFL, black pill, hashtag TFL, hashtag black pill, and then they're talking about, oh, they don't want to live them. And yo, like, don't get me wrong, I know there's people who go through a lot, right? But they got a lot of fake selves, fake. I wouldn't use the word incel because I don't like the word incel. I think there's difference. That's why I resonate more with the TFL guys more than the incels, because a lot of these so-called incels are racist, and there's a lot of these incels, they're not really. I don't think they really resonate with guys who are TFLers. I think guys who are TFLers are like not only going through like difficulties with getting women, but they also like dealing with like being socially accepted, being accepted by others. So it's a range of different things. But the point I'm trying to make with regards to everything else is that I lost my train of thought. Shit. I literally lost my train of thought, man. Oh, in my stage of my life, if I end up having a girlfriend and having kids, bro, I'm not gonna switch up and be like, yo, fuck my TFL brothers. Like, I'm out, bro. I'm gonna always check up on you guys to see how you guys are doing, because I don't want another incident where another guy end up killing themselves because they're dealing with TFL. That's why I'm making this video, saying paying my respect to Baraka McKray and what's this other guy name? I keep forgetting his name, bro. You know who I'm talking about? The other guy. I mentioned his name earlier. I keep forgetting his name, man. But you know who I'm talking about. The other guy. I said those guys were suffering in silence, and this has somebody to Renegade1. Thank you, Lyrical Leisure, for reminding me. Yeah, Renegade1, man. I'm like, yo, these men were suffering in silence, and I feel like I feel the difference between Renegade1 is, to me, he was a mental cell, because I don't think he had issues with getting a woman. I heard that woman, he had a girlfriend, like he had no problems with getting a woman. I just feel like his mind was so advanced, bro. Because I listened to some of his videos, I'm like, this guy is so philosophical, and he was so beyond his age. Like, he was so advanced, man, and he thought things in a very deep way. Like, I feel like his mind was so at a high advanced stage that he just couldn't relate to the regular normies out here, man. And I feel like he embraced the darkness, like he really fully embraced the darkness. But to me, I don't think it's good to embrace the darkness all the way, because when you get deep into this black pill stuff, it could eat at your soul, man. I don't think it's healthy to be in this black pill environment for too long. I mean, it's good every now and then to talk about it, but it's like it's not healthy to be in that black pill environment, because it will eat at your soul, because it's not healthy. No one's supposed to be alone for too long. Like we all need to interact with people. We need friends. You don't need a lot of people around, but you need one or two people you could talk to. It's never healthy to be alone for a long period of time. And I think the situation with Baraka McKray was that he suffered from long periods of isolation, and he was just going through a lot of loneliness. And he went in the dark end. Like he was so dark, he was so far gone, it was going to take a miracle for him to be rescued. But I think it could have been prevented if people, reach out to him earlier and check up on him to make sure he was doing okay. And not just talk, but try to see if you can meet up to him, maybe FaceTime or meet up with someone in person. 'Cause I feel like it's a whole different feeling when somebody actually talk to you face to face, or they may FaceTime you. It's more personal. And I think a lot of guys are suffering with that. And like I said, I don't want another situation where another guy end up killing themselves because they're dealing with TFL. I'm rooting for Savvy Guy that he will pull through, but I could tell like Savvy Guy, he's at the edge, man. I remember one time he came out with this video and it was very concerning. And he's like he don't want to. I don't think he claimed that he don't want to live anymore. But I could tell based on what he was saying that he was coming off as like, yo, I don't want to live anymore, man. And I could tell the Savvy Guy is going through it hard. That's why I said I respect guys who really go through it. I don't like guys who are fake, who come on and hop on and act like they're going through 2FL and they have been in multiple relationships anymore. I don't want to mention any names, but you got a lot of infiltrators in the movement that use the hashtag TFL, hashtag Black Pill, hashtag Forever Alone. And these men have relationships before, bro. How can you call yourself Forever Alone and TFL when you have multiple relationships in the past? Is this because a woman is not in a long-term relationship with you, but you had success with women? To me, a true TFL is a guy who gone through long years of having no woman, like just long droughts, like guys like Savvy Guy, Baraka McKray, even Kent leading up before he ended up having a girlfriend. Um, just dudes like that, you know what I mean? Those are guys who I could say, even Renegade1. I think Renegade was more a mental cell, but he still was a TFL to me because he really talked about real issues that we deal with on a daily basis. But to make a long story short, man, I'm gonna just say this, man. I'm never gonna switch up on my TFL brothers. Always gonna stay true. Excuse me. And my voice sound a little bit weird because I have cold. I just started coughing out of nowhere. I don't know why, but be on the lookout for more live streams. I'll be going on for nearly about close to 2 hours now, and I'm gonna be posting more videos. I'm gonna go from different topics, man. I never stay on the same topic, but like I said, no matter where I'm at in my life, I will always, check up on my TFL brothers, making sure they're okay. Because I know there's guys that are suffering, dealing with loneliness, depression, anxiety, and they've been treated like outcasts by others. And man, we've been beat up and abused by society. So it's like we need an outlet, man. And I'll make sure I help be that support system for my brothers, man. Even if I end up having a girlfriend, which I am in the midst of doing, I'm actually talking to a girl right now. And it looks like things are heading in the right direction. But even if I'm in a situation where I'm in a relationship, I may end up having a kid. I may end up having kids, bro. I'm not gonna switch up on my TFL brothers, man. Take care, Lyrical Leisure, R.I.P, and I'll see you on the next one, man. I appreciate it, bro. Take care, keep your head up, and all you guys take care of yourself and be safe out there. All right, peace.